joined by Alvin Brooks III, Baylor men's basketball assistant coach with us, Baylor in Oklahoma, in Norman on Saturday. And I've been told you're a body language expert. Was it different in Morgantown, or is that sometimes just because you won the game, people may think it's different?
No, you're correct. It was definitely different in Morgantown. I felt like we were, the connected team that we normally are in Morgantown. So I think we lost a little bit of that connection somewhere after Christmas break. But Morgantown was a huge step to being who we really are.
Is it sometimes, Alvin, good to, especially because it's so disappointing to lose, but especially when you lose at home, which was one of your goals not to maybe get away, even though it might be more difficult in a place like Morgantown or anywhere else on the road in the Big 12, but just to kind of get away?
Oh, it's a blessing. I mean, Big 12 is the best league in the country, and so anytime you can win a game, whether it's home or away, is a huge blessing. But definitely to win on the road, I mean, just because the other team is so comfortable and you have the fans and the environments are different, so to win on the road is definitely huge.
I heard Coach Drew in that documentary, in the one that ESPN Plus is doing, that maybe not as together since the break. You just brought that up a minute ago. Is that a complacency thing? Is that kind of forgetting where you came from? What was that? Or is that just human nature?
I think it's more human nature than anything. I mean, we're human just like everybody else, and especially our student athletes. And so I think a lot of times you never know what they going through or what they may be thinking. And so just remembering the ultimate goal and remembering that, joy is what we live by. I think, sometimes we need a little reminder about that.
Porter Moser, of course, has been an incredibly successful coach. Oklahoma has lost 4 in a row, which makes them dangerous. You beat them earlier this year. When you beat somebody and you play them a second time, who makes the most adjustments, the team that won or the team that didn't?
I think both teams. I think the great thing about the Big 12 is everyone plays each other twice. And so I think both, being in the Big 12 for 10 years, both teams make adjustments. And I think you look to see what you did well, and you look to see what you wanted to improve in. And both teams make adjustments, and obviously whatever you did well, you want to continue to do that well against them also.
When you deal with injuries, how do you know, and I know it's Charlie Melton and the team doctors, and they all have to make decisions, but how do you know as a coach if you can tell if a player's ready to go?
I think it's very difficult just because, we're blessed to have great players, and the reason why they're great is because they think that they can do something at a high level no matter how they feel. And so it's up to us to look at them during practice and see if they're able to help us at the high, at a high level like they're capable of. And, I know Coach Drew mentioned that, James Meyer shouldn't have played against Oklahoma State, but, we're competitors. He's a competitor, so we kind of made the judgment to let him try. And so I think, now it's just a matter of they both are day-to-day and seeing what they could do in practice, and then hopefully they'll be back to where they're ready to play, who knows, maybe tomorrow, maybe Tuesday.
How important is it when you have a starter who's probably a midseason All-American at guard, and James Akinjo, and Sohan, who obviously I think everyone's now realized, who didn't, that he might be kind of like the glue guy with all the things he can do in so many ways, that they were as engaged and as excited and celebrated as much as anybody when that game at West Virginia was winding down, or even during the game? Me
personally, being a huge body language guy, I loved it. I thought our bench was unbelievable as far as cheering for their brothers. And I think that's something that we had lost a little bit. And so to see that, for me, I was like, that is great. That's what we need to do in order for us to continue to get better and do what our goals are. We need to have everybody connected like that.
Matthew Meyer was huge. Obviously, L.J. Cryer has stepped up. Matthew loves Morgantown, and he has fun with the mullet and the fans, and they obviously don't like him because he's had 2 of his best games there. Jay Billis, we had him on the show a couple of days ago, and he said something about Matthew Meyer didn't need to change anything. He just needed to be who he is. Is that kind of where he needs to go back to again?
I mean, yeah, Matthew, the great thing about our team is at one point we had 7 guys averaging 8 points or higher. And so when you have that, any night it could be anybody's night. And so I think, Matt just not putting pressure on himself and playing the way he's capable, that just takes our team to another level because, obviously he's the most talented player on our team.
You went to the screening or the premiere of Ode to Joy. You were there. Coach Tang was there. Adidier was there. What was that? Your thoughts when that thing ended?
It was an unbelievable production. Obviously just seeing, the beginning to now, one thing that, it's hard to put Baylor basketball, they did a great job, and it's hard to put, the history of Baylor basketball in 3 parts, but it was an unbelievable production as far as highlighting what, the Coach Drew era. And I just think that, he did a great job of what all the guys did, the interviews, and seeing some of the former players talking the interviews. And I don't know who leaked the karaoke, but whoever leaked the karaoke, I definitely want a copy of that video to keep for life.
Your father, of course, is now back to head coaching. How much do you still contact him quite a bit? I know now that he's got that role that's a little bit more active. What's been the conversations you've had with him?
I'm just trying to, make sure he continues to stay positive. He hasn't, he's had a lot of injuries. He's had 3 to 5 starters out at times because of COVID and because of injuries, and he hasn't had his full team, not once all season. And so just trying to, help him understand that anybody dealt that hand would have a hard time. And so he doesn't like, losing, of course. And so just trying to keep him positive more than anything.
Dale Bonner has had to play more minutes maybe than you thought, or at least earlier than you thought, or because of some of the injuries as well. Jordan Turner played 3 minutes in Morgantown. No stats, no shots, no turnovers, no nothing. But he played 3 minutes. How about the development of what Dale's been able to do under the pressure of having to play? And then even when someone like Jordan just gives you 3 minutes off the bench, what does that mean?
It's huge. It's huge. I actually went up to Jordan yesterday before practice started, and I shook his hand and I told him, I said, Jordan, you really helped us win that game. Like, you may not have taken a shot, but you didn't make any mistakes on defense. And in order to go into an environment like that and, not make any mistakes and do what the coaches asked you when you hadn't played much, that's a big, a lot of claps to his maturity because, a lot of people wouldn't be able to do that. And then you also have Dale has played at a high level in practice for a while. And so I don't think it was a surprise for us as a coaching staff and for his brothers because everyone has a lot of faith in him. And he's even better than how he played offensively. He hadn't shown what he could do offensively as much yet, but we are very proud that they were able to, step up. And we always say next man up. They both stepped up and did what they're capable of doing.
Alvin Brooks III, Baylor men's basketball assistant coach on SICM 365 Radio, 365 Sports.
Again, Baylor tomorrow.